All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to our last topic of the day. We'll just touch on some of this real quick. Again, with NFL training camps hopefully starting up soon. And as you mentioned earlier in the episode, that we haven't really signed a big name pass rusher to address our terrible sack situation last year. We've only kind of brought in Julian Okwara, and we're hoping that some of our other players like Deshaun Hand and Austin Bryant maybe can step up after having injury-filled years last year. Everyone keeps talking. We know Everson Griffen is still out there. There was some stir up on Twitter with him talking about, I think, commented back at a Matt Patricia tweet, something like that. So there was a little bit of stir up there. We still know Jadeveon Clowney is still a free agent, but it's also kind of rumored that he's probably going to end up back in Seattle. And then last, we still have Yannick Ngakoue down in Jacksonville, who is still requesting a trade, and the Jaguars have been kind of denied. So there's still a few out there. Obviously, they all have their issues that come with them. That's why they're still unsigned at this point. I guess, what are your thoughts? Do you think that the Lions need to still sign a big free agent pass rusher, or do you think we should just try and develop some of our younger players?
Well, we definitely need a pass rusher, but there's a reason these three guys are still out there. So let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about each one individually. The best guy to have probably would be Yannick Ngakoue. He's the youngest at 25 years old. He
Mm-hmm.
seems fairly healthy. He had 8 sacks last year, 37 and a half sacks total over 4 years. However, major social media and off the field concerns.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting a beef with the owner's son, publicly bashing the team, demanding trades. Is this really a guy you want to get? And you don't get him for free either. You have
Right.
to trade the Jaguars a pick or more for him.
Mm-hmm.
The Jaguars, it sounds like, want at least a first round pick. And for me, that's not worth it to give
Mm-hmm.
up a first round pick as well as the top of the market salary for a guy who's shown to be such a malcontent.
Yeah, and then Everson Griffin, he still has his issues. He's had mental health issues and some off-field issues, stuff like that. And he's had injury issues as well too in the past.
Yeah, a lot of people want Everson Griffin because we've seen him destroy the Lions over the
Yeah,
past few years. He's just a beast out there. And Stafford, I'm sure, never wants to see Everson Griffin on the other side of the line ever again.
right.
But there are major mental health issues here.
Mhm.
Let's talk about them. Public intoxication with battery of a cop as a rookie. History of marijuana use. In 2018, there were multiple issues that were widely publicized. Verbal outbursts, multiple incidents with police, including one where he showed up shirtless and unprompted to teammate Trey Waynes' house. And then he escaped from an ambulance. There was an article where, quote, he says, I lived in a sober house for 3 months from October to the end of the 2018 season.
Mhm.
Wow, these are major red flags. We're talking about just red flags popping up all over the
Yeah.
place. So reading between the lines, what could be the issues here? There could be a definite drug use problem going on. What kind of drug? Hard to say. There could be a psychiatric disorder,
Yeah.
which could include schizophrenia, which is not multiple personality disorder. Schizophrenia is a different thing where you have
Mhm.
disordered thoughts. Borderline personality is possible, bipolar is possible. So it could be any number of things. And if a team isn't very comfortable with the psychiatric history or doesn't have full access to his medical history, they would have to be very, very wary about touching this guy.
Yeah.
The other issue is he's 32 years old.
Mhm.
So at his age, we can't expect him to play as well as he did in the past. So he'd be a stopgap at the most. So
Yeah.
add that to all his mental health issues. He's not a guy I would want to take a chance on.
Mhm. I completely agree. And then same thing with Jadeveon Clowney. He's not so much off the field issues, but so much is injury history. And even though he has been a beast on the field when he does produce, but still he's got a lot of injury histories. And again, he's getting older as well, so he's got his questions too.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit older, but he's only 27 years old.
Mhm.
So actually surprisingly young,
Yeah.
younger than I thought he'd be.
Yeah.
But he
Same.
had microfracture surgery in 2014, which was already 6 years ago. Microfracture surgery means he's lost cartilage in his knee, and that never grows back.
Right.
So the farther out you are from microfracture surgery, the more likely you're having some kind of degenerative changes in your knee and arthritic issues.
Mhm.
We saw this a little bit last year. He wasn't super productive. He had a couple games where he was incredible and was looked like a superstar, but he's not a guy you can count on from a health standpoint. I would not give this guy big money. I would not give this guy a long-term deal with a lot of guaranteed.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's why if I had to say personally, obviously if I had to choose, I would take Yannick. But again, I don't think he's worth giving up all that. And again, with the way he's acted towards the owner of his team and stuff like that, it doesn't seem like a personality you want to bring into your locker room and kind of maybe stir up. Because again, we know Matt Patricia just got rid of all those big voice locker room guys, so I don't think he'd be too keen on bringing in another guy similar to that. And then yeah, I the other two I'm not real big on, as you mentioned. Even though Everson Griffin's lit up the Lions for years, it's just another player at the end of his career trying to get another contract or two or whatever. I
Right.
just don't think he's worth it, even if he is just a maybe a veteran minimum. I don't know if that'd be something that I'd want to do, but
Right, and why don't the Vikings want him? You always have to ask that question. That team knows him better than anybody, and they don't want him.
yeah, and he's produced for them for so long. Why would they just go ahead and because they cut him early, didn't they? Or I believe so. I think he still had a year or two left on his contract, but I'm not.
I
I
don't
might
know.
have been wrong.
But
Yeah.
this is why your article about Julian Okwara is on point, because there's nobody out there that's left that's worthwhile. So
Mhm.
we need Julian Okwara to step it up, outplay us third round status, get us 8 to 15 sacks this year, which would make a huge difference for this team.